At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Krueger. I thought we'd take a live shot looking out at Shasta Dam. What a beautiful shot. You can kind of see some of the fog that's been developing kind of at the base of the dam there near the river itself, and of course the lake up above that. Just a beautiful shot. You can see the stars off in the distance here and a few clouds off in the distance as well, but we're going to be looking at mainly clear skies here for this morning, and of course as we go throughout the day today, a lot more sunshine is in the forecast here. I was working on a few things here and I forgot to get the show loaded up here for you. All right, let's take a look at how the radar looks this morning, and yeah, there are still a few lingering sprinkles and light showers for those of you along the coast here, and there were actually a few lightning strikes last night. If you live in the valley and you were looking off to the east at the right time, you may have seen some lightning strikes and and maybe even heard a few rumbles of thunder. And it looks like, as we look at the radar here, yeah, even last night we saw some just off the coast as well. Right now, just some drizzle, maybe some light showers, but that's really the extent of it this morning. This is going to be the tail end of it. Now, there still is a lot of leftover snow, ice on the ground, which is why we have several chain requirements. Now, a lot of these are for big rigs, but just note that there are going to be a lot of slick spots here, and you'll notice they're mainly east of I-5. However, on Highway 36 in southern Trinity County, there are also some chain requirements there. So this is something you need to pay close attention to. We'll take a look at some of the Caltrans cameras out there just to give you an idea. Now, it looks a little slick even on I-5. Look at Snowman Summit on Highway 89 heading out to the ski park. Looks like there is some ice there a little bit too. Grass Lake, I mean, it's covered still in snow. But it looks like we are seeing improving conditions in other areas. I just wanted to show you, because a few days ago there was snow on Highway 199. Not the case this morning. So it looks like conditions have improved there as well. Looking at Hatchet Mountain, looks like you can see some of the ice that you see there on Four Corners. This is northeast of Bernie. This is looking out at Cedar Pass off to the right there on your screen there. So you can clearly see what I'm talking about. If you have to travel in the mountains, even if it's just for big rigs, it is going to be slick. You need to give yourself a lot of extra time if you need to travel in the mountains this morning. There's Highway 36 near Chester. Look at all of that. For Donner Summit, looking at all the snow as well. By the way, you can always check the latest road conditions from the free Weather NorCal app. Just search for Weather NorCal in your app store for your iPhone and for your Android. And you can also click on the road conditions section and take a look at all of those cameras we were just looking at here at a quick glance. So check out that free Weather NorCal app. And from the app, this is where Brian sent this cool photo. He just kind of labeled it visitors. I'm not exactly sure where this is, but still a cool picture nonetheless. And if you want to share your photos, it's very easy to do. Of course, we just talked about where you can get the free Weather NorCal app, and you can share your photos from that free Weather NorCal app. You might see it on the 6 o'clock in the morning update that I typically do. Sometimes it goes up a little bit earlier than that, and you'll see it live here on Coffee with Krueger. All right, let's get you out the door this morning. We're going to go ahead and start your Krueger's Quickcast for your Thursday. And there you can see those temperatures are in the mid-30s. There may be some patchy frost in the Redding area, but you'll notice not as cold heading southward, and that's because we've got those winds blowing a little bit. But look at the mountains, 16 degrees in Alturas, 31 for Mount Shasta City, mid to upper 30s for you along the coast. So as I was mentioning, those winds are actually fairly calm. So honestly, I'm surprised we're not seeing those colder temperatures in places like Chico and Willows and even Red Bluff, but certainly have those calmer winds in the Redding area. All right, so out the door this morning, it is going to be cold. Even by 8 o'clock this morning, we're still most likely in the mid-30s. There you can see in the mountains, we're going to be in the 20s. And for the coast, you're going to be in the upper 30s. So yeah, definitely a very cold start to the day. And here's the reason why. You see those speckled clouds over us? And you can kind of see kind of a U shape that's going from west of California, kind of a U shape over California in general. That's the trough of low pressure, and that's the colder air that's been sinking down. But you'll also notice to the west of that, over the central Pacific, there is a arc in the clouds. That is the ridge of high pressure that's going to be building in over the next few days. But looking at futurecasts, just want to show you that there may be some lingering snow flurries up to the north in Siskiyou County. But otherwise, you've got clearing skies. We're going to see the sunshine for a good portion of the day for the first time in a while. You may have to bring out the sunglasses for the first time in a while, too. Mount Shasta Ski Park still looking good. Top of Douglas is 42 inches, groomed and rider packed. No chains on I-5 or Highway 89, at least on the side of Highway 89 that takes you to the ski park. But as you saw on those cameras, there's still going to be some ice and slick spots. And especially the ski park highway between 89 and the ski park, there will definitely be some ice and snowpack on there as well. Temperatures for today, despite the added sunshine, it's still going to be cool. We're going to struggle to get out of the 40s, I think, for many of us in the valley. Still only reaching highs. We're going to average out to the north and east of the valley. Highs average will be in the mid-30s, give or take. And then west of that, Trinity County, the inland areas, low to mid-40s and low 50s for you along the coast. And tonight, another cold night. Low to mid-30s in the valley, teens. Look at this. I mean, we're talking low teens. And we are approaching the single digits for places like Alturas and even Portola. But west of that, still cold too. Trinity County, low to mid-20s, low 30s inland, and looks like in the low to even mid-30s for the coast. So probably seeing some possible frost tonight and tomorrow morning for parts of the coast and, of course, the valley as well. Now, looking at the 7-day forecast, there is a bit of a disclaimer I'd like to mention, and that is, as we go into the weekend and early next week, we may be setting ourselves up with that fog pattern we saw several weeks ago. Everything is aligning just right based on the forecast model data that would support that, but we can't confirm that just yet until it actually happens. Fog is a very tricky thing to forecast, but as long as you can detect those ingredients, you can at least begin to warn people that that may happen. We take a look at the coast, inland, and for Trinity County. These are areas that, of course, the coast typically sees the fog, but inland and for Weaverville, you may start the day off with some of that fog, but then it kind of burns off. Mount Shasta, most likely looking at mainly clear skies, as well as Alturas and Susanville, and that's where you're probably going to see some of those warmer temperatures, especially as we go into next week. All right, that's a look at your Krueger's Quick Cast. Let's take a look at some of the cameras across the region this morning, looking at Lake Oroville. All right, you can't see much out there, can you? But there you can see Lake Oroville. This is North Forebay. And it looks like we do have those clear skies. A little fuzzy because it looks like the camera's a little out of focus. Main Street Chico on Highway 32. It doesn't look like we've got much going on there either, do we? Not a lot of traffic this morning. You see a little bit more traffic on Highway 99 at Neal Road. But again, you can't really see much as far as the sky conditions are concerned, but it is clear. Sundial Bridge Drive on Highway 44 is what we're looking at here. Taking a look at Sutter Buttes. Now, this is going to be an interesting camera to look at this time of the day when we start seeing that fog begin to develop, because we can see the city lights now into the valley, but we probably won't in the days to come, especially as we go into the weekend and early next week. This is a look at Crescent City at Harbor District, and you can still see a little bit of drizzle out there trying to still kind of hang around. We have Bald Hill West, which seems to be sucked in with that fog there. This is looking on Soda Ridge. You can see a lot of the clouds beginning to break apart, but again, there may be a few snow flurries here and there, especially for northern Siskiyou County. But look at Fort Jones. This is looking out at Scott Valley, and you can see that we're not looking at much in the way of fog out there this morning. You've got some sunshine, but it is going to be a cold start to the day. And speaking of cold, that looks cold. Look at Lassen Park. I mean, ton of snow over the last several days, and you can see off in the distance, the peaks there are seeing the snow. The trees are weighed down with all of the snow. This is an image that we look at in the mornings, and we can see a bench for people to sit at, a picnic table, a pathway, right? Can't see it now. They're all completely covered in that snow. All right, well, today is Thursday, and this is the day that we've got our NorCal Ag Report, sponsored by Lassen Canyon Nursery. I want to thank Kenny Elwood from Lassen Canyon Nursery for supporting Weather NorCal and sponsoring the NorCal Ag Report. This week, we're going to show you, a while back, Jerry O'Lennon went to what at the time was the new location of the Honeybee Discovery Center in Orland. And we kind of learned more about that location and learn a few fun facts about honeybees in general as well in this week's NorCal Ag Report, sponsored by Lassen Canyon Nursery.
Hi, I'm Jerry O'Lennon for Weather NorCal, and I'm in Orland with the Ag Report, sponsored by Lassen Canyon Nursery. And this week I'm at the Honeybee Discovery Center at the new location at 727 4th Street in Orland, and I'm with the CEO, and the first name I never get right.
It's Carolina Burrison.
Carolina Burrison, and you're the CEO.
That's correct.
What does a Discovery Center for honeybees do? What's its purpose?
Well, we're an exhibition gallery and learning center. We are open to the public, and we also do field trips for K through 12 grades, and we have tours also available. So we are an exhibition gallery regarding pollinators, especially honeybees. Honeybees are the most important pollinator. They pollinate 1/3 of every bite of the food that we eat.
I know Orland takes a lot of pride in the manufacturing of honey and the honeybees that are in this area.
That's correct. Yes, Orland actually is the queen bee capital of North America. So what that means is It is the center to the region that supplies over 80% of queen bees to all of North America.
What would somebody be surprised to learn about honeybees that they don't know?
Well, we hope lots of things that we can share with them. They'll work all their life for 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey. So
Really?
Honey is a precious thing that they use for nutrients, and they make an abundant amount of it. So that's how we get to extract and use honey. And honey is very healthy for you as well.
It is. And you're in the honeybee business yourself, aren't you?
Yes, my husband and I are part owners of Moore Creek Apiary. So we have about 2,000 hives for pollination.
How dangerous are the bees themselves? You have to be real careful with them.
I think bees can sense. So they can sense if you remain calm, they remain calm. In fact, that's one of the tidbits that we always share with our visitors here, is that there's no real need to be afraid of honeybees. Honeybees are on a mission. They're very busy bees, if you will. So they always have a job to do. They're really not looking to sting. They will only sting to protect themselves or the hive.
Very briefly, the new location in the heart of Orland is a really big deal in terms of getting attention to what this center does, doesn't it?
Absolutely. We're always excited to share with everybody that we have moved to a new location. It's a larger space, a lot brighter and fun. We invite everybody to come and see us. Our website is honeybeediscoverycenter.org, and you can schedule a field trip or a tour or find out our operating hours for being open to the public as well.
The Honeybee Discovery Center is looking for volunteers. If you're interested, call them at the number on your screen. Hey, thank you for your time. We sure appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And there's your Ag Report. I'm Jerry O'Lennon for Weather NorCal.
Once again, I want to thank Kenny Elwood from Lassen Canyon Nursery for sponsoring NorCal Ag Report. Without our sponsors, we would not exist here. We got a couple of people checking in this morning. Let's go ahead and kind of pop up there with our weather headlines here. And before we do that, oh, you know what? That's what happened. Interesting. That's why I was kind of expecting something else to pop up on the screen. It didn't. So there you go. All right. So I want to, of course, mention our other sponsor, Wind River Resort and Casino. They have been sponsoring Coffee with Krueger since day one. So I want to thank them for their support of Coffee with Krueger and Weather NorCal in general. I want to thank you for your support for watching. And I want to thank all these people for their support too. They're checking in this morning. We have got Jackie Dixon. She was the first to chime in this morning, 12 minutes ago. Good morning from Trinidad. We got a few hail showers last night. Clear sky at the moment. Yeah, absolutely. And there were some lightning strikes I did see off the coast as well. And there were some lightning strikes off to the east. In fact, Cynthia has reported that it had lightning a few miles north of Red Bluff. So she saw those lightning strikes. We've also got Jerry Smith saying, yay, sunshine. And yes, we're going to be looking at that out there for today. And we've got Tanya Willis Johnson saying, good morning. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a good start to your day and hoping you all are having a good start to your day. You know, at Wind River Resort and Casino, you can enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. Once again, I want to thank Wind River for their support. Let's take a look at your headlines here as we go into the deeper dive forecast here shortly. Dry, but still cold here for today. Dry and mild pattern into the long range. We got that return of that fog. Yes, we can see that fog return. And then a dry pattern as far as the eye can see. We're not seeing much rain in the forecast here anytime soon. So we're going to get into that potential for two-leaf fog, why we may see it, get into the when we could potentially see that begin to develop here in our deeper dive forecast. But first, a word from our sponsor, Shasta Hearing Aids.
Frank, come help with the dishes.
What?
The dishes!
I heard it the first time. I just got back from Shasta Hearing Aids, but she doesn't know it yet. What?
Forget it.
All right, so let's take a look at the temperatures out there this morning, and cold, right? I mean, we're looking at about 35 degrees for Redding. It may get cold enough for some of you in some spots, especially wind-sheltered areas, to maybe see some frost out there this morning, but it might be borderline, I think, for Redding. But there you can see here, as we head southward, not quite as cold as anticipated, but I do expect probably even colder tonight. Temperatures in the teens, 20s off to the north and east. Look at El Tourist. You're down to 16 degrees this morning. 25 in Bernie, 30 for Susanville, 31 out in Mount Shasta City. And we got those mid to upper 30s right now for you along the coast. Now, last night we did see some of those snow flurries in the higher elevations. As we saw earlier, there are plenty of chain requirements, especially for big rigs east of I-5. A lot of slick spots this morning on many of the mountain highways this morning. If you look closely, you'll see some lightning strikes that we did see yesterday evening, last night. So you may have seen some of those lightning strikes yesterday evening. And then you can see off to the coast here, if you look closely, you will see, let's see if we can see some of those pop up. And there they were. We saw a few lightning strikes right here. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if in Trinidad, you did see some of those lightning strikes last night, but other than that, we have a few lingering sprinkles just off the coast here. We may even see a few lingering snow flurries off into northern Siskiyou County, but this is on the downward trend as far as any chances for rain and snow are concerned, and we're going to be looking at much drier conditions. Now we have this trough of low pressure right here. You see that? This is all that colder air that's been pulling down. This is what's been moving in throughout the day and yesterday evening, and why our snow levels were able to drop, but it also really brought in that colder air. Now behind it, we've got this. Now this looks like quite a storm pattern developing, and it is, but we've got this high pressure that's kind of building in. That high pressure is going to be pushing eastward. What that's going to do is start to push that colder air off to our east, and that's going to allow our temperatures to moderate a bit. They won't be quite as cold as we go into the next few days. But this ridge of high pressure, despite the fact that it's a ridge and typically see sunny skies with it, it's what's known as a dirty ridge of high pressure. It's still allowing a lot of these clouds to move in, and that'll probably bring us a few more clouds over the weekend. But look at that. You see that ridge of high pressure? Once it settles in over the weekend, it's going to start to build even more and more as we go into next week. You can see these storm systems butting up against that ridge. The ridge acts like a brick wall. So you have these storms that just hit that wall. They have nowhere to go but up and over that ridge of high pressure. Now, sometimes they tend to break away at that ridge, and you see it kind of come in and then around. But overall, we've got this strong ridge of high pressure. So let's talk about that potential for fog. Remember the fog several weeks ago that we saw? We have that potential to see a repeat of that in many areas. So here's the situation. If you recall, before that fog started, we saw a decent amount of rainfall. There was a lot of low-level moisture. Then we saw clear skies after that, and we saw high pressure, much like this, begin to build into the region. And it was persistent. It stuck around. It didn't go anywhere. It kept the air stagnant. So some of the ingredients you need for fog are, number one, low-level moisture. Check. We've got it. We've had a lot of rainfall. The other ingredient that we need here is clear overnight, right? No clouds. Check. That will be here at some point in time, although we do have a few clouds coming in, looks like by Saturday, and that may impede some of that fog development as we do go into the weekend. But clear skies eventually are going to be in the forecast, so check on that. Calm winds. check. We've already got the fairly calm winds, although maybe a little breezy with those north winds today. Otherwise, after that, we do start to see those calm winds begin to develop. So we see all of these ingredients coming into play. We take a look at the pattern we saw with that last fog event and the pattern that we've got coming, and this may be a bit of a repeat of what we did see. We'll have to watch closely. We look at the forecast visibility over the next few days. This is the same forecast model that I was using during our fog event, and it actually did quite well, showing where most of the fog would be in the valley. And as you can see, even through today and tomorrow, this model is not showing any fog just yet. And another thing that we got to look at here are the winds, right? I was talking about you need calm winds. Well, there it is tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., calm winds. Let's take you into Saturday morning. Calm winds, right? We're below 5 miles per hour in many cases, and that'll be the case going into Sunday morning as well. So those calm winds, that's another key factor. So overall, looking at the trend over the next 10 plus days, drier than normal conditions. Now, again, we look at this map, we see warmer than normal. All right, great, it's going to be warmer than normal. However, for areas that see the fog, it won't be warmer than normal. In fact, it may actually drop below normal for this time of year, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So for Redding, the normal high is 56 degrees, okay? Now, if we didn't see any fog, let's say we took fog out of the equation 100%, our temperatures could be looking at 70 degrees. No questions asked. However, if that fog returns and is persistent and doesn't clear out, we're going to be looking at temperatures more like the low to mid 50s for those daytime highs. So there you go. We're going to have to watch that closely. But to start things off, it's going to be cool today, but you see how it's just kind of gradually increasing here. Again, taking the fog out of the equation, that's what our temperature trend is looking like. It's gradually getting warmer as that high pressure really starts to build and get stronger. We have a high surf advisory still. We've been talking about this since yesterday until about 4 p.m. Breaking waves 20 to 25 feet. You've also got a risk for sneaker waves. So you don't want to really be on the beaches today. Just not a good idea. By the way, this right here is a hazardous seas warning. And that's especially for this morning. When we take a look at our marine forecast, you'll see what I'm talking about. But here you can see those wave heights. Yeah, they're still fairly high today. But as we go into Friday, yeah, they're going to start to retreat. So it shouldn't be as much of an issue by the time we get to the end of the week. Here's a look at your marine forecast for today. North winds at 10 to 15 knots. Your waves from the northwest at 6 feet at 7 seconds. And from the northwest at 17 feet at 16 seconds. There's that hazardous seas advisory that we have. All right. Hazardous seas warning, excuse me. All right, here is your neighborhood forecast sponsored in part by Dignity Health. You've got those temperatures. It's cool today, folks. Yes, you're going to see more sunshine, but it's not going to be warmer out there. It's going to be quite chilly, actually. 49 degrees for Blue Lake, 48 degrees in Alder Point, 46 out in Orleans, 46 Hoopa and Willow Creek, 51 for both Smith River and Crescent City, and McKinleyville, Trinidad, topping out at about 50. For your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, it's cold. Look at that. We may not even get above freezing in places like Tennant, for example. 33 in Weed, 35 for Mount Shasta City. Get that winter coat out. You're going to need it today. 35 degrees for Tule Lake, 34 in Canby, 35 degrees for Alturas, and Eastern Mountains also seeing some pretty cold temperatures. Although some of the lower elevations, like Paradise, for example, getting up to about 46 today. For the south end of the valley, temperatures around 50. As I mentioned earlier, I think we may struggle to get out of the 40s today in the valley, but temperatures will start to slowly increase. Now, where we have better potential for that persistent fog would be in Chico. So that's why I think temperatures will most likely be a bit cooler there. But for Redding, and what we saw even with that last fog event, the north end of the valley tended to see some days where there was some clearing, but it took a while for that to actually happen. 50 degrees out in Redding, 50 degrees for Palo Cedro, and 49 degrees in Cottonwood for today. And there's your 7-day forecast for Redding. Those temperatures slowly increasing. Now again, these temperatures at this point are not taking into account should we be looking at that fog. And that's where things get a little bit tricky and where we got to take a look at that as we kind of get closer and closer to the weekend and then closer and closer to next week as well. So, I mean, that's what it's like looking at. We're going to have to kind of really watch. I mean, now that we're kind of on the backside of all this rain that we've seen and snow in the higher elevations and the works, now that that's all behind us, we got all those ingredients that could come together that are mimicking, based on the forecast model data, it's all mimicking what we saw with that past fog event. So we'll have to kind of wait and see if it all comes into play. All you have to do is pick up the winds a little bit, no more fog. All you have to do is, get rid of that temperature inversion, no more fog. All you have to do is get rid of that high pressure, no more fog. But I mean, none of those we're going to be getting rid of, at least at this point. That's not what it's looking like here. Checking in with some of you again this morning, and the latest was Tanya, so we said hi to Tanya. Let's take a look at some other people. We've got Jeff Johnson saying good morning, Mike, and good morning to you. We got Debbie Castro saying thank you, and thank you to you, Debbie, for checking in this morning. We've got Ronald saying frosty in West Cottonwood. Well, there you go. There's that validation, if you will, of mentioning. I was even mentioning it in my evening update on Facebook, saying it's going to be frosty in some areas here. So thank you for that report. In Cottonwood, we've got Dawn saying good morning, and we've got Barry saying good morning as well. So good morning to you all. But that's what I love about this, right? We can all interact with one another. You can tell me what the weather is like where you are, so that validates what I may have said. Maybe it says, oh, I said this, and then, oh, no, this is actually what's happening. I can't know everything, right? I mean, this is a wide area, big area, and a lot of microclimates, and I can't, the technology can only go so far, right? And that's where human eyeballs, that's where the best thing comes into play. And all you have to do is go on Facebook and boom, I know what's going on. And if you have a question too, I'll never be afraid to ask a question about, if you have a trip coming up, or if you want to know what's going on with this or that. Give me a question. Shoot a question. I'll check it out, and we'll see if we can answer those questions. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show and get ready to call it a morning, at least for me. Ooh, that is beautiful. Let's take you right to it right away, right now. That is a beautiful shot right there, Soda Ridge. You can see, we were talking about those lower snow levels, and we're starting to see that. A lot of the lower elevations, seeing that nice, excuse me, nice dusting of snow. And part of that may be some frost this morning, but that looks a lot like just a very light dusting of snow from last night and early this morning. Beautiful shot out there at Soda Ridge. So yeah, very nice. All right, going to leave you with some more images this morning. In the meantime, you all have yourselves a great day, and we will see you tomorrow morning right here on Coffee with Krueger starting at 6:30. Have a great one.